Hey, I'm Vera Stewart and welcome to my home. Welcome to the VeryVera show. And you know, I decided to do something a little different tonight. I'm going to take you through the process of getting ready to have an event in your home. You know, we all lean on professionals to do things. I know I couldn't have done some of the renovations in my house without a wonderful decorator, painter, electrician, handyman, all the different people that have assisted me over the last few months getting my home ready to entertain. You know, over the last 29 years running VeryVera and being so involved in my business, I rarely had very much time to spend at home. So over the last few months, many of you have asked, well, what are you doing with yourself? What are you doing with your time? I've been doing a lot of things in my home because I'm working out of my home, and then also just getting back to entertaining, which I love to do. So tonight we're going to take entertaining to a different level. Many times you think about having a party, whether it's just a few friends over for dinner or quite a large number, which I'm going to have tomorrow night, and you think, what am I going to serve? The first thought is food. Tonight, I'm going to give you a different way to look at that. What we're going to do is we're going to decide where the food is going to go in your house, what you're going to serve it in, and then we'll plan the food around that. So let's get started in the dining room. Actually, this room was my living room, and I thought, I really wish that I could have a room that I could have more people around the table. So what we did was we flip-flopped the rooms. So now I can seat all my family around the table. I even have the pleasure of having a fireplace, which was a focal point in the living room, but now it's become a focal point in my dining room. So whether it's in the middle of the summer or in the dead of winter, we enjoy having a fire sometimes, or just the ambiance of having a fireplace. But what I've done tonight is I've thought about, I don't want all the food around the table just having everybody congregated in here to eat. So what I've decided to do is keep it looking like a dining room and then utilize the end of the table for the food. So I'm actually going to take away the 3 chairs at the end of the table. That way guests can still see what my dining room looks like. Now we're going to think about what we're going to put the food in. In this room, I have a lot of crystal, I have a lot of silver, and copper, brass. So I decided to do a copper chafing dish, a silver tray, and a crystal pedestal. Now, what in the world am I going to put on those 3 things? And this is what you're going to see at the end of the show. But I'm going to use a copper chafing dish, I'm going to use a beautiful silver tray, and then, as I said, crystal. And that way, the end of the table can be for the food. The whole rest of the room, the guests can walk around and enjoy. Okay, let's move over to the sideboard. You know, in keeping with the idea that you want to disperse your guests, you don't want everybody congregated in the same place, look around in your room at other tables or other areas maybe that you could put a table, but I happen to have a sideboard here, which height-wise is perfect for something that you might want to do with your hands. What I'm going to put here is a pulled pork. Again, I'm going to use a copper chafing dish that'll look really great with the print that I've got here. And then in terms of someone making something with that, making it into a sandwich, they've got a great height working at this table, and it gets them completely away from other guests that are eating at the dining room table. All right, so we've got food on the table, we've got food on the sideboard. Let's move into another room and put some other food. So we're going to walk into the study. All right, so now we're in the study, which actually I have turned into my office area, and I absolutely love it. You know, working from home has been a lot of fun for me. I decided to put my desk where I could see out the window and enjoy the rest of the house, some of my paintings. So I love this room, and I want guests to be able to come in here. So I looked around and I thought, well, what could I do in this room that would kind of complement the room? With lots of gold and red, the first thought that came to my mind was the now famous cheese ring. You know, bright cheddar cheese, the little bits of white onion, and then the gorgeous strawberry preserve over the top. So that's what I'm going to place at the end of this table. This room also allows people that want to maybe get away from the crowd, sit and have a private conversation, they can come enjoy themselves in here. So that sounds like a great idea. So come back with me after the break. We're going to go see the rest of the house, and I'll tell you what else I'm planning to put on the menu for tomorrow night. Welcome back and welcome to my home. I'm so happy to have everyone here tonight. And you know, I hope it feels like you're at my house, because that's what I feel like. I love to talk about my home. I love what I've had the opportunity to do since my business schedule has slowed down quite a bit. So if you're just joining us, I am teaching you tonight how to give a party yourself. Certainly we love to use all the professionals, the professional caterer, the florist, the rental company, all of these different components to make a party great. But as far as planning it and making it your own, this is what I want you to feel comfortable doing by doing it the way I did it tonight. I started by thinking where I wanted to put the food, what I wanted to put it in, and then I made my menu around that. So we're now in the family room. I love this room, big open area. We enter this door, we pretty much live in this room, and I want my guests to feel very much at home here. So this table right here is something that I picked up years ago at a flea market outside of Beaufort. Great for the grandchildren. But wouldn't it be fun tonight to put food on it that was childlike for a bunch of adults? Who doesn't love macaroni and cheese and pigs in a blanket? So this table is going to take on a whole new life. There won't be children sitting around it, but there will be some adults acting like kids tonight, eating all of that sort of really good comfort food there. All right, so let's move over to what is traditionally the bar area of my house. And since I'm going to do the bars outside, this whole area gets cleared for guests. So what could be better than to have food on the counters that's easy to get to, finger type food, nothing that you really need a plate for. But I want to remind you, wherever you put food, to always make sure you've got plenty of napkins. So on this sideboard bar area, I'm going to do 2 tall wooden tiers, because as you can see, lots of pottery, very casual feel, wood, that sort of thing here. So I'm going to do that. Then on this counter, I'm going to do a great copper tray and do something that's actually one of my favorite appetizers there. All this will be cold food. So then let's move down to this area, and I want to introduce something else hot in this room. So I'm going to do cold pickup vegetable type things here that are really crisp and good. You know, and when you're doing that sort of thing, you want to think if somebody bites into something that's crisp and it kind of spills over onto the floor, there's nothing in this room that would ruin. So you want to give that some consideration as well. And then down at this end, I'm going to do another copper chafing dish, and I thought close to the outside, what about a hot mushroom dip? Really great, has a great aroma, it will smell really good. Then people can see outside. Hopefully we're gonna have a nice night, some great lighting and everything out there. So let's talk a little bit about how you make the room logistically work for your guest. Logistically, when you think through the party and you think about where people are going to go, which foods they're going to like, you know, you really never know until the party gets started where people are going to end up and how they're going to take to your grand idea of logistics. So in an area like this where I've got seating chairs, a coffee table that we prop our feet and put our magazines on, as the party gets going, if it starts to get crowded, you know, have a couple of people that are handy that you can say, let's move those chairs out of the way, which they could easily move to this window over here. The coffee table could be quickly put in the guest room over here. So as you walk through and you notice your crowd at a party, it's really important to recognize if you need to rearrange a few things to make people more comfortable. Speaking of comfort, again, here's another fireplace, and you never know how the weather's going to be. You know, we traditionally in the spring can go the gamut with 90 degrees to 50 degrees, so a fireplace can come in really handy. And then you also want to think about weather when you're having a big crowd, you're planning to utilize the outside. Always have a game plan in mind for rain or bad weather so that your guests will be comfortable and having a wonderful time. So come back with us after the break. We're going to take this party outside. I'm going to give you an idea of how I plan to set the patio up to make everybody feel at home.
Do you want to be invited back to your next dinner party or evening out? Be sure to take a hostess gift. This can be done for less than $10 and it's always well received. In my hand I've got a Gerber daisy, great this time of the year. It's beautiful in the house, but then it can be planted and it comes back year after year. Another one that I love to do is a bag of potpourri. This one in particular goes in a bathroom, so it's really nice. It's one of those gifts that probably the homeowner wouldn't go out and buy themselves. So keep it neutral, but really that's something very special and nice. And then finally, if you do something on your own, like you have a wonderful bread that you make, this happens to be artichoke relish, that the person that brought this actually had labels made with a picture of their home. It's a great gift, can work in the pantry for quite a while until you're ready to use it. So think of something very thoughtful. There again, it's not about the money, it's about the thought that counts, and make sure you're invited back the next time.
Okay, let's go on outside to the patio. And as you can see, the weather's changing just a little bit. I'm kind of trying to make sure my hair's in place. But when you do a party that's bigger than your house, you've got to be prepared to take some of the folks outside. So how are we going to do that? Well, as you can see, the wind is kind of picked up. There's no threat of rain, but the temperature is going to get a little cool. So I want to make sure that I've got a reason for people to come outside. Well, the number one reason, unfortunately, will probably be to get a drink, whether it's alcoholic or non-alcoholic. I'm going to do both of the bars outside in an L shape. Near this back wall. I'm going to have some of these beautiful votive trees out there so it'll be lit up. I've got outside lights on all the corners of the house so you'll be able to see to get to that. But with this much space there won't be any weight at the bar. The general rule of thumb is one bartender for every 50 guests, so I'm going to have that pretty much covered. The other thing that we want to do is have something going on out here that makes it inviting for the guests inside to maybe get a whiff of a great aroma or some reason why they want to come outside. So this is where the grill that's out on your patio comes in really handy. As you can see, we've still got to get this cleaned up, but wanted to wait until the last minute to do that. But we're going to do little small hamburgers, like little sliders. This will be kind of interactive throughout the night. People can come out and get one. Then I'm going to do some tall stand-up tables here that, you know, you can get your hamburger, go over and stand at the table. I'll have some mushroom heaters, you know, going with that. So again, that will help if it's gotten a little chilly. But most of the time when you're invited to something this time of the year, you really should dress appropriately. Whether you've got a little cardigan that you can throw over your shoulder, take it off if you don't need it, but it always comes in handy if you do need it. When we get to lighting, I always love to recommend these rusty pieces. You know, these votive trees, and I've got the different bigger ones throughout the patio, are so great because if you don't have a place to store something like this, and I don't because I don't have a garage, I don't really have an outside storage area, so I can leave these where the weather can get to them. The rustier they get, the better they look. So you don't have to worry about rot. You don't have to worry about painting it again, and it just kind of blends, especially with the brick. So making sure that you have a plan for the overspill of guests from the inside is so important. Looking at the weather, making sure that you've got ample opportunities for people to be warm, to be cool if it's going to get really, really hot. So you want to give that some consideration, and then have enough things going on, like I said, something grilling on the grill so that that aroma goes through the house and people say, well, I wonder what's going on outside. Even if they're out here for only a few minutes, it will allow the house to kind of take a breather from a large number of guests in the home. So we've covered quite a bit tonight. We've talked about how to plan the menu based on your home, how to get people to spread about all over your house, and I could have even done a cheese tray in one of the bedrooms at the end of the bed. So just keeping all of that in mind, making sure that guests know where the restrooms are, you know, just pointing that out, or having maybe a little something out that lets them know where that is if you've got that number of people. And then planning food that you don't have to worry whether it's going to spill in your home, making those selections correctly, using things that apply to your decor to serve things from, whether it's silver, glass, wood, keeping all those in mind, and then having things that are cold and hot so that it's not this huge big deal at the last minute about getting everything out to serve. You don't want to have every single dish hot because oven space will become a problem. Using chafing dishes will become a problem. So we're almost there. We've got a few little last minute things to do, a little touch up. I got to get my hair fixed. So come back with us after the break because you're going to get to see this whole plan come together, all the different aspects of the party, close-ups on the food, and the perfect end to tonight's show. So come back with us after the break. All right, it looks like it's party time and everything has gone so well today. Only thing that went wrong was the weather got just a little bit chilly, as it will this time of the year. So what you'll see as we go through this next few minutes is what I've done to make sure that my guests are going to be comfortable. Everything is ready. I'm going to take you through every room that we looked at earlier and show you how it has transpired to make hopefully a really great night and a lot of fun. The dining room area really took on the look I was trying to achieve. As you can see, the shrimp spread just turned out beautifully and looks so luscious on top of crystal. Using the shells to decorate just really brings the sea and the earth together really great. The Vidalia onion dip is scrumptious in the copper chafing dish. Really will stay nice and hot. The guests will enjoy having something hot at this table to enjoy. The fried chicken tenders, nice and crisp at room temperature, look great on a bed of cabbage leaves. And then how about the specialty VeryVera layer cakes for dessert? I know everyone's going to be so excited to see these old-time favorites. And then finally, the handsome display of pulled pork barbecue on the sideboard looks wonderful under the print, the copper chafer, the great-looking rolls. Everyone will love to make their own sandwich. The study really shows off my love for red and gold. The now famous cheese ring has never looked more prominent than it does at the end of my desk. This also introduces to our guest a better idea of how I'm utilizing my home office. It's really nice to very quietly go in and look at the beautiful paintings, so I hope everyone will enjoy the food. You know, we're trying to introduce some old-time recipes, so don't forget they're available on our website at nbc26.tv. As we now begin our walkthrough to the family room, you can see how open the house is because we eliminated some of the walls between the rooms, and nothing could be more inviting than everyone's childhood favorites. Macaroni and cheese and pigs in a blanket. The placement of this is perfect as you move into a larger entertaining area, and it's the very first food you see. Not only that, it just smells fantastic. The sandwiches and the pecan Havarti quesadillas are the perfect pick-me-ups for the ladies, and the guys really enjoy this sort of thing too. The wooden containers are just great against a backdrop of mirrors and my collection of pottery, a lot of which I purchased from the students at GRU in the art department. Their spring and fall shows are always a must for me. Surprisingly enough, the dried vegetables with sea salt are a great hit at a cocktail party. The perfect crunch and the best way to enjoy food and watch your calories at a party. The portobello mushroom dip is the star of the show in this room, directly under the TV. Since the TV will not be on for the event, it opens the whole area up to guests that would normally feel they were in the way. I also decided to move a couple of pieces of furniture, allowing more floor space in this room. Gosh, the applewood smoked bacon that was added to this old recipe gives it a whole new life. Don't forget, recipes for several of my party favorites will be on our website at nbc26.tv and should definitely appear on your next party. As we begin our approach outside, the bar is definitely visible and accessible, and with the mushroom heaters going, the wind starting to die down because sunset's approaching, we're well on our way to the doorbell ringing any minute. The setup is great in an L shape, and the tables that we put on risers will be great if guests want to get a plate and eat. The grill is ready for grilling those hamburger sliders after the party is well underway, and that will give some interaction to outside and hopefully invite guests to partake. So we've got the votives lit, the heaters ready, the party's about to begin. I want to thank you so much for joining me tonight. Hopefully you kind of felt like you were in my home. I've had a great time getting ready for this party. And you know, I'm using rooms I've never used before for food. So just keep in mind the things that we talked about. Plan your menu around the different rooms in your house. Choose foods that go with the colors that maybe that room is decorated. Think of things that you can serve food in that are a little unusual, and always be prepared for the weather if it interferes with maybe that you're planning to be outside. I'm ready because I've got fires going in all the fireplaces, the mushroom heaters outside. You know, spring and summer, you can have anything happen with weather. So remember, whatever you do, do it in good taste. I hope my guests tonight are going to enjoy tasting everything I've prepared. I hope you will come back and join me again next week for another episode of the VeryVera Show. Bon appetit.